Like normal, I'll do my, pros and cons, talk about what was good and what wasn't. And then at the end, I'll tell you, my rating on it. No spoilers, of course. Let's dive right in. So first, I want to get the bias out of the way. I do like Poirot movies. Like, I grew up watching him on VHS, so I'm a little biased. Okay. And I say that when I will tell you that the last one that came out, the Death on the Nile or whatever it was called, was awful. The movie sucked. I mean, really and truly, I could not get behind how bad that one was. So it really pleases me to hear and now be able to tell you that this new one was something special. A Haunting in Venice really succeeded where it should have. The soundtrack is fantastic for a movie about a haunting. I think, like most scary movies, the soundtrack is what really almost carries the film. The periods of like pause and there's silence almost, and they're trying to convey a specific mood. That's where horror movies succeed. Not saying this is a horror movie. It is definitely a little bit scarier than probably the normal horror movies. So first, soundtrack phenomenal. Not sure if it was the theater I was in. Um, the surround sound was just perfect. Sometimes I thought I was kind of in the movie. I'm not going to lie to you. If you can see it with surround sound, do that. The cast, too many people to name. All of them important. All of them significant. They all crushed it. I mean, really and truly, they all crushed it. Most specifically, I'm going to say I think Michelle Yeoh was unbelievable. Kelly Conway, phenomenal. Tina Fey was in it. And I'll admit, she threw me off a little bit, Tina Fey being in a movie like this, but she played it well. Props to her. I enjoyed every single acting performance. They're good. I mean, they're better than good. They're just very good, very skilled actors and actresses, and they did a phenomenal job. I will always say that Agatha Christie is one of the greatest authors of all time, just because of I mean, she's just special. I mean, she's really the epitome of the genre of like murder mysteries. I mean, she's got it down. So props to her. And props to the scriptwriters for turning the book into a fantastic movie. A little spoiler because I said fantastic, but it's a good movie. I mean, it really is. It's a good movie. I very much enjoyed my experience there. I very, very much enjoyed this change of pace, different take slash approach in the Poirot movies. One thing I will say as we like kind of dive into the cons, I think where this movie did falter a little is some of the CGI is just it's bad. It's bad. It's definitely bad. It detracts from it a good bit. And the movie is not known for CGI, like of course, but I will say the scenes where it's in there, it's definitely noticeable and definitely not great. Also, to all the pros that Agatha Christie has, I think the con is you can typically kind of gather a guess pretty early in the movie, and you're typically gonna be right. And I think this is one of them. I will say that maybe a third of the way through, I had my guess and I was right. Everyone's on their own. I'm sorry. I was the only person in the theater. I was just sitting there thinking and enjoying. To me, I think that's a little bit of a detractor. I want it to be up until the last moment, really not knowing who it was. But it was pretty straightforward. All in all, though, I think this is a step in the right direction after Death on the Nile. I thought Murder on the Orient Express was great, and it was going to be a start to a great revitalization of the series. And then Death on the Nile came out, and I was upset. The movie was bad. And now, A Haunting in Venice isn't a masterpiece. Don't get me wrong, but I've enjoyed it. It was better than I expected. And to me, I think that warrants, some credit. I definitely did not expect this movie to please me as much as it did. It is frightening in the great ways that it should be. It feels like it should have been released in October. It's perfectly spooky, and I'm very much here for it. Movie critically, this movie's like a 7 at best. Okay, it's nothing to write home about. I do think it's surprising. It does better than you would anticipate. Personally, I'm gonna say 7.5, possibly even a light 8. I think it's only because it's following up Death on the Nile, but I enjoyed this film. I would definitely watch this again, and especially in theaters. If you are planning on seeing this, make sure to see it in theaters. The surround sound crushed this movie for me. Truly gave me chills a couple times in the theater. So if you're new to the Poirot series, watch Murder on the Orient Express, watch this one. Don't watch Death on the Nile. Other than that, it's a good movie. I would recommend this to anyone looking to get into the Halloween spirit and watch something a little bit spooky. A Haunting in Venice was better than expected, and I recommend it to anyone who's interested in murder mysteries and or Halloween and or just going to the theaters. This one's a pretty dang good movie, surprising watch, and I would recommend it.